Story 1. Am I the a-hole here for calling off my wedding after my fiance's surprise gift? So, I, 30 female, have been engaged to my fiance Mark, 32 male, for about a year, and we've been together for 3 years. I've always known Mark to be a bit unconventional. He's very creative and sometimes takes things a little too far in the name of surprise or excitement. Most of the time, I love his adventurous spirit, but this time, not so much. A couple of weeks ago, we had a small get-together with some close friends to celebrate our upcoming wedding. Mark had mentioned that he had a surprise for me, which I figured would be something sweet, like a heartfelt gift or maybe a romantic gesture. Well, as the night went on, after a few drinks, Mark finally revealed his gift. He pulled out what looked like a box from a special jewelry store. My heart raced with excitement as I assumed it was a lovely bracelet or a special memento for our wedding day. But when he opened the box, I was absolutely stunned. Inside was a key to a house he supposedly bought for us. I was taken aback because I had no idea he was even looking for real estate. My first reaction was one of shock and confusion, as I thought it was a huge decision that we should have discussed together. As I processed the moment, I realized the house wasn't just any house, it was a fixer-upper on the outskirts of town. Now, I get that it can be a great investment, but this particular house needed a ton of work. I'm talking major renovations and repairs, and I honestly had no desire to live there. Mark had not consulted me at all before making this purchase, and I felt blindsided. Normally, I would be overjoyed about investing in our future together, but the fact that he had made such a significant commitment without me crushed me. I quietly took the key and told him we needed to talk about this. As we stepped outside, I expressed how hurt I felt that he had made such a big decision without discussing it with me first, and that it felt like a violation of trust. Mark got defensive and insisted that this was a wonderful surprise, a way for us to start our lives together. He said I was missing the bigger picture and that I should be excited about our future. Honestly, I just felt overwhelmed and confused. I told him I didn't think we were ready for this and that we should focus on our wedding first. After a heated argument, I made the gut-wrenching decision to call off the wedding. Mark was devastated, and our friends were shocked. I had just ruined what was supposed to be a happy night, and I felt horrible. Since then, Mark has been trying to reach out, saying he wishes we could talk it over, but I can't shake the feeling that he disrespected my feelings and my input in our relationship. I've been reflecting on whether I overreacted. Am I the a-hole here for calling off the wedding after his surprise gift? Now throw the comments. Not the a-hole. Terrible judgment on Mark's part, but what I find the real problem here was his response when you pointed out the obvious. He argued with you. The light bulb did not go on with him that you don't make decisions like this without the other person. This is a sign that he will surprise you with a new puppy, his brother moving into your house, that he has quit his job and took out a loan to start a family business, and then argue with you when you say this should have been discussed prior. Plus, a fixer sounds hideous. Exactly. Mark wasn't just signing OP up for a huge financial obligation she never asked for, but a chaotic, dirty, messy, few years of life in a fixer-upper. Not everyone is excited by that. He took away her autonomy and demanded she be excited about it. My heart would have sunk, just like Arp's. Not the a-hole, and maybe this was just the wake-up OP needed. And he did so at the exact time where, in the US at least, materials costs are almost certainly about to increase by quite a bit. A surprise is supposed to be delightful. Like if they had been looking at houses and had found the perfect one but just missed putting in an offer before it went off the market, and the realtor had called him and told him the previous offer fell through, that would be a nice surprise. Something he knew she was okay with and would have wanted, and was disappointed to have missed out on. Not a random house she'd never seen that's going to require years of difficult, annoying work she never signed up to do. And then he argued about it. Nope. Not the a-hole. Making a major life decision without you isn't a good way to start a marriage, it also sets a precedent for the marriage. Not only is it a surprise house, it's a surprise fixer-upper that's not even a gift, that's a job, and I don't think anyone really thinks their partner wants to be left out of a choice like that. And most likely she wasn't on the title if he already purchased it. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Some people really don't understand that movies and TV are not real life. It sounds like Mark may be one of them. Not the a-hole. I'm divorced now, but when my ex-husband and I were married, we lived in an apartment together. We wanted to move into a house, and he found one he fell in love with. I disagreed. It needed way too much work, didn't have central heater, only had a wood stove, it smelled awful because the previous tenants had let their hunting dog stay locked in one of the rooms, the owner had a large area we weren't allowed in because he had things stored there, etc. He agreed with the owner to have us move in anyway without telling me. I told him he at least needed to get everything in writing. We were supposed to be doing rent to own. The owner was a wealthy man but told us we could pay a reduced amount if we fixed up the property. I had concerns about this because we had a 1-year-old at the time and both worked full-time, opposite shifts. We were also living paycheck to paycheck. Well, he didn't get anything in writing, just got the keys and started fixing it up himself. Again, without telling me. We ended up putting way too much money into this house, only ended up living there for about a year. Our relationship never really recovered after that. I posted this long-ass comment to say, never stay with somebody who is willing to do whatever they want without consulting you. It doesn't work out and you will always resent them. So what was his plan? The house would be in his name only while you padded his pockets by investing hard work and money into fixing up his shitty house? Not the a-hole. Plus, a fixer-upper comes with the financial burdens and time commitments. Mark essentially obligated you to this project without considering your financial situation or your willingness to take on such a responsibility. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my girlfriend drive my car because she's totaled 2 cars before? So I, 24 male, recently bought my first nice car, a 2019 Mazda 3. It's not a luxury car or anything, but I worked my butt off for it. I saved for years, drove beaters while I worked 2 jobs, and when I finally got this car, it felt like a reward for all my effort. I take care of it, too. I wash it every weekend, never let it get below half a tank, and park away from everyone else in parking lots like a total dork. Here's the issue. My girlfriend, Emily, 24 female, wants to drive it. I love Emily, but she is the single worst driver I've ever met. And I'm not exaggerating. She's totaled 2 cars in the past 2 years. The first was because she misjudged the distance while merging on the highway. The second, she reversed into a light pole in an empty parking lot. She tailgates like crazy. I've had to tell her multiple times to back off the car in front of her when I'm in the passenger seat because it feels like we're going to die. She's admitted she doesn't like paying attention while driving because it's boring. I wish I were kidding. I've let her drive my old car once before, a 15-year-old Civic I wasn't super attached to, and she managed to scrape it pulling into a gas station. After that, I said I'd never let her drive my car again, and we both kind of laughed it off. Well, now I have this car, and she keeps asking to drive it. At first, it was playful, stuff like, let me take it for a spin, and I just said no with a laugh. But recently, she's been getting more annoyed about it. She says stuff like, you act like I'm going to crash it or something. And, well, yeah. The other day, we were driving to dinner, me driving, obviously, and she brought it up again. She said it's weird that I won't let my own girlfriend drive my car and that it makes her feel like I don't trust her. I told her straight up, it's not that I don't trust you, it's that I've seen you drive, and I can't afford to have this car wrecked. She got quiet and didn't say much for the rest of the night. Later, she told me I embarrassed her and made her feel like she's incompetent. I said I wasn't trying to embarrass her, but she has totaled 2 cars. She said I should get over it because accidents happen, and that I'm being controlling. Now she doesn't even let me use her PC because I may break it when there has never been such an issue before. I think it's just childish. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. My sister had been in 7 car collisions, none her fault, not even when she destroyed our mom's garage. It jumped out at her. Some people really don't understand driving. Like your girlfriend, some people will contrive any reason not to be to blame. Consider whether she does this in other aspects of her life. Is she ever at fault for anything that goes wrong? Is she capable of admitting responsibility in any context? And if this is a driving-only issue of denial, would you be comfortable, say, sending her out with children in the car, your own or nieces, nephews, whatever? And of course, not the a-hole. I would never entrust anyone I cared about to be driven by this person. I find it hard to believe that someone who has said they find paying attention while driving boring isn't awful in other ways. But, you do you, OP. I guess. Not the a-hole. Not only is she a bad driver, but she refuses to take any responsibility. Both of her major accidents were entirely her fault, but you should get over it. You'd be crazy to let her drive. Given her retaliation via her PC, you need to also evaluate whether you'd be crazy to stick with her. Not the a-hole. Regardless of your reasoning, your GF is not entitled to driving your car. If she brings it up again, bring up all of the things she's done while driving the other cars. But also, do you really want to stay in a relationship with someone like this? The bad driving, the immature pettiness, not allowing you to use her PC, the lack of self-awareness, the inability to take no as an answer. Like, I think the way she responded to you uncovers a lot more issues with this one than just bad driving. Not the a-hole. She is irresponsible and quite frankly an awful person for thinking her behavior is okay or cute. How can you even look at your GF knowing she is this lackadaisical about others' safety on the road? How will you feel when she hurts someone or worse kills someone with her idiot look on driving? I don't like to pay attention while I'm an entitled jerk is what that sounds like. Would you let her drive your future kids around? If the answer is no, what are you doing with her? Not the a-hole. Later, she told me I embarrassed her and made her feel like she's incompetent. She is not only incompetent but a danger to herself and others. She should have her license revoked from what you wrote. Why are you sugar-coating the truth? You do not trust her to drive tour car. You do think she will total it. I mean, I'm impressed you don't sound more alarmed that she's going to kill herself or someone else because paying attention is boring. I'm impressed you're still with her when you think she drives in a way that actually makes you feel unsafe and like she's going to run into another car. You sound like you're underreacting. Are you not worried she'll kill herself in an accident? Is she so unbothered with life that she does not even know she drives unsafely? Story 3. Am I the a-hole for cancelling everyone's Christmas because my mom called the cops on my husband? Usually my husband, 30, and I, 27 female, host Christmas Eve at our house. It's nothing big, just my divorced parents and my 3 teenage siblings. This year, we have a newborn and sat Thanksgiving out, but I felt comfortable doing Christmas. Until my mom called the cops on my husband a few weeks back. One of my sisters, 19, called me, crying, asking me to go pick up our younger sister, 17, because she had just got in a fight with my mom and my mom slapped her. Our newborn baby was sleeping and we wanted to get the 17-year-old as soon as possible, so I stayed behind while my husband went to get both my sisters. My mom and my 17-year-old sister were at the laundromat. Altercation happened at home. When my husband walked up to their car and told my sister let's go, my mom freaks out, causing a scene, starts yanking on the car door, telling him to let my sister out or she's calling the cops. At this point, my husband had locked the door and kept telling my mom he's not letting her out, she needs space and is bringing her back to our place. My mom walks away, and I tell him to drive off, she can send the cops to my house if she wants. I was on the phone with him. She calls the cops and it backfires. The cops side with us and agree 17-year-old should have been removed from the situation and should stay with me for a few days. This enraged my mom. For some odd reason she hates that my sisters and I are close. She has been telling them for years to keep secrets from me, to not tell me what happens in her house. They still do. She has called family meetings with my siblings just to say they need to stop running to me to vent. She says whatever happens in her house is none of my business. She treats me like I am some random outsider and not her literal daughter, and I'm tired of it. She tends to sweep everything under the rug. She will never talk about an issue and will just continue life like she didn't hurt anyone's feelings. She also has a tendency to pull the "well, sorry, I'm such a bad mom" card. Or she deflects and gaslights, a lot. After she called the cops on my husband, with the intention to get him in some sort of trouble, I am not letting her just sweep this under the rug and show up for Christmas like we are one big happy family. If she cannot come to us like an adult and apologize plus have a mature conversation, she is not welcomed in my home. So, Christmas Eve is cancelled. I'm also not going to raise my daughter around people that make her parents feel like crap. I'm not allowing her to see the people that are supposed to love you can treat you however they want just because they are family. Now, backstory on my mother, I have never considered us to be close. She put me through a lot as a child and my teen years living with her sucked. She has serious narcissistic behaviors and seriously needs therapy, but I don't even trust her to be honest with a therapist. She's the type to make everyone else the bad guy and make herself look good. There's years and years of incidents with her, but this year I've really had it. However, I put up with her because of my siblings. So anyways, am I the a-hole for cancelling everyone's Christmas? Now for the comments. Honestly, I get why you're upset. Your mom crossed a line, and it's not just about Christmas, it's about respect. You gotta stand up for your family, especially your husband. If she's not gonna apologize and act right, then it makes sense to cancel. You're protecting your peace and your baby's peace. Keep doing what's best for you. Completely agree with this. It's not just about the holiday, it's about demanding basic respect for you, your husband, and your family. Your mom's behavior, calling the cops and then refusing to acknowledge or apologize for it, is unacceptable. You're not being unreasonable by setting boundaries and expecting accountability. Protecting your peace and your child's environment is the right call. Not the a-hole. Your husband's actions seem justified and the police seem to agree. Can you not have the dinner sans the mother? Agreed. Just have the sisters and dad over and completely ignore mom. Also, the next time you hear, "Well, I'm sorry, I'm such a bad mother." You are a bad mother, but I don't think you are sorry at all. You haven't taken any steps over the years to correct your behavior or take accountability for your actions. Right. Tell her show don't tell. Saying sorry doesn't fix anything. It's you're not making some attempt at correcting the actions and you continue doing the same damn thing. Sorry means nothing. Not the a-hole, but if it's possible, maybe consider having just your siblings with your spouse and little one. Not the a-hole for uninviting your mom. But I think you should still host Christmas for the rest of the family, cause it seems like your sisters and your dad didn't do anything wrong. Plus, hosting the Christmas for everyone while uninviting mom would send a much stronger message to her. Or maybe I'm just a petty a-hole for suggesting this. Story 4. Am I the a-hole for telling a pregnant woman she shouldn't park in a handicap spot? So today is the second day in a row that I noticed this neighbor of ours parking in the handicap spot at the daycare we take our children to. Her husband went in to drop off their daughter and I saw the mother sitting in their Range Rover in the handicap spot doing her makeup. I stood in front of their vehicle until she acknowledged me and then pointed at the sign which clearly indicated that it is a handicap spot. She opened up the door and said I'm 7 months pregnant in a very confident and authoritative thick English accent, and then closed the door and proceeded to continue putting on her makeup. Keep in mind that she wasn't driving today, she was yesterday. It was her husband that was driving her. I then knocked on her door, she opened the window and I told her that being pregnant doesn't qualify as being handicapped. And she inexplicably said thanks a few times. For those of you that might be wondering why I care, I know plenty of people that are handicapped and my aunt is handicapped and it is not an easy life whatsoever. So imagine if you're someone that struggled to get in and out of your vehicle, or even needs to get your own wheelchair out of your own vehicle. Now imagine needing to go somewhere and all of the handicapped spots are taken by entitled clowns that have no right being in these spots. I see this all the time in my city, but it hits a bit different when it's a neighbor of ours and they're doing it so often. So am I the a-hole here? Please downvote this post if you think I am. I really couldn't care less about the fake internet points. I'll take the downvotes as the consensus that I'm the true a-hole in the wrong here, not people like her. Edit. This has turned out to be a very contentiously polarizing topic. That said, for those of you that have brought your soapbox in and are virtue signaling at me and at others saying that it's fine for her to do this and that I'm the a-hole here, why don't you read the comments from all the people that are legitimately disabled? See what they think on the matter, because I guarantee you they have better insights and know a little bit more about this topic than you do. Now for the comments. You think that's bad OP? I am disabled, albeit not horribly, and have a placard. The parking in my apartment buildings has become atrocious. People have started parking in the handicap spots all night, people without stickers. Blocking me out of one, knowing I live here and have a handicap sticker. If I engage with apparent violators like this, I usually tell them that they forgot to put up their placard, and they can get a big ticket for that if a cop rolls by. I don't assume they don't have it, I just remind them to put it up. They usually just say thanks, and it's a civil conversation. People do forget to put them up sometimes. If they don't have one, they can move or risk the ticket, but I'm not around for that part. Not the a-hole. I think they do need to be told. My daughter was able to get a handicap placard when she was pregnant with twins. This person should try to do the same if she needs to use the handicap spots. I understand you think you're doing a service, but as a disabled person, please don't. It's great to educate friends or family on this, but the problem started when you went and said something at all. Even with placards, a lot of us, especially with invisible disabilities, will get hassled for using accessible parking spots. It's always someone that thinks it's up to them to enforce the rules on supposedly our own behalf. It causes so much anxiety and frustration. I honestly don't even like leaving the house because of it. If you saw a disabled person waiting for that spot, stepping in would make sense. But soft, you're the a-hole for getting in this argument to begin with. Everybody sucks here. The way disabled parking permits work where I live is that the disabled person doesn't need to be the driver. The permit is so that the disabled person can get to where they need to be safely, whether they're the driver or the passenger. Pregnancy can also cause temporary disability. I had SPD so severe in my 3rd and 4th pregnancies that I couldn't walk without crutches and had the same need of a disabled parking space as anyone else who needed mobility aids. The pain started really early in pregnancy as well. With my last baby, I was on crutches from 18 weeks. I was barely showing, but I was certainly feeling and suffering from the effects. You were an AH for pursuing this and confronting her. Knocking on her window is horribly aggressive and could have ended very badly for you if she or another observer felt that she was in danger from you. If you feel strongly enough that this was a violation, report her and let the authorities catch her. You are not going to persuade her that she's in the wrong. And you are also not privy to her medical situation. She may not feel comfortable telling you her pelvis is splitting in half. I know I certainly wouldn't have told any Tom, Dick, or Harry on the street. And she's an a-hole if she doesn't genuinely need the space. Thank you for listening. If you like the video, consider like and subscribe. If you want more stories like these, turn on your notification to receive the latest stories.